What is up, guys? It is Joe. We're back. We're talking about K-State football today, talking about the transfer portal as Kansas State made a massive pickup last night, a big-time player to talk about in the transfer portal recruiting class, and I'll do that here shortly. But before I do, quick reminder to subscribe, leave a like, and comment on the video. I appreciate all the comments and support we've had on the transfer portal stuff. I've been trying to stay on top of it for the most part, so I appreciate having you guys alongside because it's just an exciting time to be a fan, exciting time to see what's changing, who's coming in, who's going. It's a cool thing to see. I know the portal gets a lot of flack, but for what it's worth, I think it's a pretty cool thing to cover at least and watch and witness. A good thing happened to Kansas State football yesterday with the commitment of Ohio State linebacker transfer Gabe Powers. Now, folks, I wanted to make a video specifically about Gabe Powers because I don't know that we're giving this the entire love it deserves as a commitment. I don't know that people realize the magnitude of this addition. And maybe that's a little bit due to the fact he didn't see the football field a ton at Ohio State, and you could say, well, he needs more production, he needs blah, blah, blah. This dude has such a massive ceiling. And I don't want to sit here and say that it's a projection, like maybe he could hit it situation. He didn't really get a chance to show that at Ohio State, but when he was on the football field, he did everything right. He looked good sideline to sideline. There's a couple dudes in that room ahead of him that were, older vet guys that kind of had to run with them for a bit, but whenever Gabe was on the football field, he looked dang good, folks. This is the player to be named later in the Will Howard to Ohio State trade last year. This is the player to be named later. In all seriousness, I'm just stoked to have Gabe on campus. I think he's the perfect day one starter at the will linebacker spot alongside Des Purnell, alongside Austin Romaine. Two dudes with NFL ceilings already. You add Gabe Powers in there. That is going to be the best linebacker core in the Big 12 and could be a top 5 unit in the country. That's the type of stuff we're at. When I say we need to appreciate the magnitude of this addition, I think about it this way. This was your priority, number one. This wasn't a guy that you're saying, well, maybe it'd be cool if Gabe Powers came here. He might come here, blah, blah, blah. This was the dude you went all in on as a coaching staff. You knew this was your guy. You didn't go out and say, well, we have 5 different linebackers visiting. We need different people and XYZ stuff. They went all in on Gabe, and they landed Gabe. You have to like the will and determination of both parties making this thing work, because that's a big recruitment. I mean, think about the teams invested. You had Minnesota. Yeah, I'm not a huge PJ Fleck guy. I think I've said that a couple times on the channel, but you get that they're still a threat. Wisconsin, another school that breeds linebackers, it feels like, where Gabe Powers was. I was a little concerned about the Wisconsin tie because I thought that might be where he ends up. And then North Carolina, who has Bill Belichick. Where were you when Kansas State beat Bill Belichick? That's the question we'll all be remembering. But a good thing to see for sure for Gabe Powers. I want to talk about his high school numbers and some stuff. But before I show you his high school highlights, and I tossed up college highlights as well. He's done some really good stuff. But the reason I'm going to his high school tape, the man played every position, it felt like. He was a linebacker, that's what he's nationally known for, but he also played running back in a wing T offense. He has clips of him returning kicks and punts, and he's doing everything. He's toe touch, toe drag swag down the sideline for catches. He's getting picks. He's taking rushes 70 yards to the crib. The athleticism of this dude shows. It pops. And when you see it on ESPN, you see the stats around him, you see 6'4", 240, and you think, well, it's a big lumbering guy. He's not going to be moving that much. He's not a mobile dude. Gabe is kind of the quintessential dude where you're like, how do they make people like you? Where you're 6'4", 240, you're big, fast, and strong. And he also runs a 4.4 40, a 4.5 40. The kid just has that next gear to him, and you see why he's a top 100 prospect. I mean, realistically, you see what I'm talking about. You'll see it here now. I'll toss the highlights on screen, just of different things that caught my eye when coming out of high school. Like I said, the wing T offense rocks, so cool thing to see there. But like I said, I mean, this is a big-time deal. You legitimately have 3 dudes that will be NFL linebackers. You do. Obviously, different spots. You're filling in for Austin Moore, who worked his tail off as a walk-on kid. I think Austin would even tell you his one knock was that he wasn't the fastest. He could identify the plays, north-south guy, great. Sideline to sideline, Austin's had a little bit of that speed kind of pulled away. But Gabe Powers is not that. Gabe Powers has that speed to go sideline to sideline. Austin Romaine has that speed to go sideline to sideline. The physicality of these 3 linebackers, like you saw Austin Romaine establish himself as a top 10 linebacker in college football this year. He was the best ranked linebacker in the entire Big 12 in terms of PFF grades. I know PFF gets weird grades because people kind of go back and forth on them, but regardless, you see the promise for this linebacker room. Reading some high school numbers on the topic of that, coming out of high school, he was listed as the 101st ranked player in the entire country. Top 100 prospect. The 8th ranked linebacker in the nation, and the 5th best player in the state of Ohio, where they, just have NFL dudes come out of their backyard every other year. Gabe Powers is a nationally known commodity. Also, when you read through some of the boards, if you go back and look at listings from the initial decision to enter the transfer portal, when guys were reacting to it on Ohio State's boards and message boards and kind of that interaction space, they were talking about it, and they were basically all bummed. Everybody was like, dang, I wish he would have played more. I wish he was on the field more. The staff let this one down. What are we doing? That's music to my ears because he's coming to Kansas State as a day one starter. You get a dude that's the number 1 linebacker in the Big 12 alongside you. You can blossom into that. That tandem is going to be such a great thing to see. And then Des Purnell, another guy that's sideline to sideline, former safety turned linebacker. You just feel good about that group. That feels like an incredible addition. I want to give hats off to the staff. Hats off to Gabe as well. Those are not easy choices to make between those schools. You're looking at a couple of different good programs, but this guy has an NFL ceiling immediately. Think about that. Because Kansas State's gone back and forth with transfer linebackers, they've been really, really good at developing guys in the high school recruiting class, but you haven't hit on a ton of dudes in the transfer portal in terms of linebackers in recent years. Obviously, there's a ton to talk about. Arthur Brown coming back, so on and so forth. Gabe Powers, at his very worst, still is probably going to be a pretty solid linebacker for you. At his very best, he has the chance to be a top 5 linebacker in football and be an NFL guy that's picked in the first 2 rounds. That's the realistic side of things here. I also like that he has more to go. Like, he's not just one-year rental type dude, go to the NFL, he's gone. I mean, if he's a stud player and goes to the NFL, you can't fault him. But what I'm saying is, like, you're not bringing him in to be a one-and-done type guy just immediately. He's not a senior with one last redshirt season that he can exercise. This dude's got 2 more years of eligibility. Conveniently, you've got your star quarterback, 2 more years of eligibility. You've got a star running back, 2 more years of eligibility. Both linebackers alongside you, Austin Romaine, Des Purnell, 2 years of eligibility remaining. This is a young team, but every single player is going to be really, really notable and have some impact. So that's a big addition for Des Purnell, for Austin Romaine, getting a guy alongside them that can be everything. I mean, he can cover well in the back end. He can rush the passer. He can do whatever you need from him. That's the thing you see with Gabe Powers. He showed it at Ohio State, didn't get a ton of opportunities too, but boy, am I glad he hit the portal, because coming to Kansas State is going to be a world of difference, and I'm excited to see that. That pipeline between Ohio State and Kansas State continues to be active, I guess. It seems like the Will Howard thing worked out. It seems like Gabe Powers is going to work out. Guys trust programs, guys trust coaching staff. So you like what you see with Chris Kleiman and the boys. An exciting addition for Kansas State, and I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on Gabe Powers, because it is a big-time ad, folks, and he's going to be a name you see. I mean, he could be a dude that goes to Big 12 Media Days. You could see these dudes as, like, this is an impact guy that's going to be a veteran leader for you. So something awesome to see in the transfer portal. Kansas State continues their work. Everybody they've hit on has been a really good player and has the opportunity to be a starter. I'm pretty excited to see the combination of this dude alongside his linebacker counterparts. But that'll do it for today's video. Short and sweet. We're keeping things to the point. But I appreciate all the love and support on the channel. Gabe Powers, I'm excited to see you at Kansas State, my friend. As always, it's a great day to be a Wildcat, and it's going to keep getting better here soon. Go Cats!